If you ever noticed that you replay conversations in your head, hours later, sometimes days later, you're not alone. You go over what you said, what they said, that one sentence you wish you phrased differently, that tone shift you can't quite decode. It doesn't look like a big deal, but it says more than you think. Because replaying conversations isn't just overthinking, it's your mind trying to resolve something that didn't feel emotionally settled. The behavior seems simple. You leave a meeting, a date, a family dinner, and later your brain presses rewind. You analyze facial expressions, you dissect pauses, you imagine alternative responses. Hidden meaning, your nervous system is scanning for social safety. Humans are wired to belong, and belonging depends on reading signals correctly. So when an interaction feels even slightly ambiguous, your brain flags it. Did I say too much? Did I sound stupid? Did they seem annoyed? It's not drama, it's pattern detection. And here's the deeper pattern. People who replay conversations often grew up in environments where social cues mattered a lot. Maybe moods shifted quickly in your household. Maybe approval felt conditional. Maybe being too much had consequences. So you adapted. You learned to monitor tone. You learned to read between lines. You learned to anticipate reactions. Replaying conversations became a way to refine that skill. Identity impact? You start to see yourself as the thoughtful one, or the careful one, or sometimes the awkward one. But underneath that label is something else, vigilance. And vigilance usually forms for a reason. Another layer most people miss is control. When a conversation is over, it's out of your hands. You can't change it. You can't edit it. You can't fully know what the other person thinks, but replaying it gives the illusion of influence. If I analyze it enough, maybe I can prevent future mistakes. If I understand every detail, maybe I can avoid rejection next time. It feels productive, even protective. And here's where it gets interesting. A lot of people assume replaying conversations means you lack confidence, but the real reason isn't what most people think. It's not about confidence, it's about responsibility. Some people carry an unspoken belief, if something goes wrong socially, it's probably my fault. So, after every interaction, your brain runs a quiet audit. What did I miss? What could I have done better? What did that look on their face mean? That's not weakness, it's hyper-responsibility. You learned somewhere along the way that relationships are maintained by effort, by careful calibration, by self-adjustment. So you adjust, even after the moment has passed. There's also the fear of rejection, but not always in the dramatic way people imagine. Sometimes it's subtle. You don't fear being abandoned, you fear being misunderstood. You fear being seen inaccurately. You fear leaving the wrong impression. So you replay, you correct it in your mind, you imagine saying it better. It's your brain trying to restore coherence between who you are and how you were perceived. And then there's another side of this pattern. People who replay conversations are often highly empathetic. You don't just analyze your own words, you analyze theirs. Were they stressed? Did they seem hurt? Did I accidentally dismiss them? Your mind tries to hold both perspectives at once. That level of processing can look like overthinking, but it's also social depth. Still, depth comes with a cost. Because when your brain never fully closes the tab, your nervous system stays slightly activated. The conversation may be over externally, internally it's still happening. And over time, this shapes identity. You might describe yourself as someone who can't let things go, or someone who thinks too much. But it was never random. It was rehearsal. Rehearsal for safety, rehearsal for belonging, rehearsal for getting it right next time. Some people move on quickly because they assume social stability. Others replay because stability once felt uncertain. And here's a deeper layer. When you replay conversations, you're not just analyzing words, you're trying to predict the future. If I understand this interaction fully, I can predict how they'll treat me next time. If I catch every subtle signal, I won't be blindsided. It's pattern recognition extended into imagination. That's why it often happens at night, when everything is quiet,
when there are no distractions to override unresolved tension. Your brain finally has space to process what felt incomplete. And yet, despite how intense it feels, this habit isn't a character flaw. It's an adaptation. You became someone who reflects deeply because at some point, reflection felt necessary. You became someone who scans for subtext because subtext once mattered. You became someone who replays moments because clarity once kept you safe. The key pattern underneath all of this is simple. Your mind prefers certainty over ambiguity, and conversations are full of ambiguity. Tone, timing, micro-expressions, delayed replies. For some people, that ambiguity barely registers. For others, it lingers, not because they're fragile, but because their system is tuned to nuance, tuned to shifts, tuned to the emotional temperature of a room. So when you replay a conversation, you're not just overthinking, you're attempting to regulate uncertainty. You're trying to close a loop that felt open. And once you see it that way, something shifts. It stops being about embarrassment. It becomes about protection. Protection of connection, protection of identity, protection of belonging. And that awareness alone changes how you interpret your own mind. Replaying conversations isn't random. It's a pattern built from experience. A pattern shaped by sensitivity, responsibility, and a desire to get it right. Once you see that, you can't unsee it. If this explains something you've quietly done for years, there's more beneath the surface. Understanding yourself isn't about fixing every habit. Sometimes it's just about finally naming it.